All right, the purpose of this lesson is to go over customer segmentation and personas. So what is customer segmentation? As you listen to me kind of talk and tell you what these two things are, be thinking about your business and who is your customer and then what their persona is. All right, so customer segmentation is the process of dividing an audience into smaller groups based on similar characteristics. The purpose of dividing your audience into segments is to use your resources more effectively. So for example, maybe we're looking, our product is for 14 to 18-year-old males, and that would kind of be our segment, but then maybe breaking it down a little bit further and breaking up subsets of males 14 to 18 years old. That's how we want to kind of break up our segmentation of our customer. So why is it important to understand your customer segments? First of all, you have to design your thinking. You have to think about how they think, and basically you're thinking about how you're going to reach particular groups, and so you're kind of focused on taking the whole segment and then breaking up into smaller groups. You can identify your early adopters. What are they like? What do they like to do? How do they like to purchase things? And then once you kind of identify these early adopters, you make assumptions, and then you test out your assumptions. You tailor your efforts and improve your communication on how you communicate with this group as you kind of go through the testing process. All right, here's an example. The business is Speedy's Auto Service. All right, first of all, what is Speedy's Auto Service? It's an on-demand auto service platform that brings the mechanic to your house. Offers basic services such as oil changes at the customer's home. If they cannot provide the service at home, Speedy's will pick up the car and have it serviced in their shop. All right, so who would be the potential customer segments? Working adults, male or female, 35 plus years old, with household incomes of $100,000. Also, auto dealerships who want to add a perk at point of sale. So this would be kind of a business-to-business type of thing that they would offer this for car dealerships, and so that would be another segment for this particular business. And then it could also be maybe big, huge corporations who want to provide a benefit to their employees. While the employees are at work all day, they'll do the oil change in the parking lot. All right, so that's kind of an example of customer segmentation. It's taking your business and breaking it down into particular groups. So once you break it down into particular groups, you're then going to develop a persona. So this is very specific now. The customer persona, what are they? A detailed description of your customer. Why do you need them? To give you an understanding. So for example, if you want to give a product or service for a 40-year-old male, you then want to kind of break down and say, okay, what is a persona of a 42-year-old male? So it basically helps you give you an understanding of who your customers are, your customers' goals in buying the product, the features and content that matter most to them, and the messaging that will help you find them in the first place. So what kind of things do we develop when we develop a persona? Well, the basic demographics: male, female, age, race. What is their lifestyle like? What does their day-to-day look like? Where do they hang out? Where do they live? What websites do they use? Where do they eat? What music do they listen to? And what motivates them? So going back to Speedy's Auto Service, when they look at their persona of the customer, they're looking at John, who's a 45-year-old working adult. So now we're going to create a story around this 45-year-old working adult. He's married with 3 children living in the suburbs. He commutes by train to work and coaches his son's baseball and football teams. So time is tight during the week and on weekends. John does not have time to sit and wait in a car dealership for a couple of hours for a basic oil change. He would gladly be willing to pay a bit more for the convenience of having someone pick up his car at his house. John is the type of guy who spends any of his leisure time centered on sports and exercise. So what you need to do for your business is you need to come up with a couple things. So what I want you to do in your Google Drive is I want you to develop, I want you to go back and looking at the business that you have currently, I want you to come up with potential customer segments. List as many as you can for the business that you're dealing with. Almost all groups right now have businesses that they can create customer segments for. So you should be able to take one of your ideas and start developing customer segmentations. When you're done with that individually, you're then going to create a persona. So you're going to create something like this for your person. So go back and kind of take a look at the customer personas and answer these questions about your typical customer. The main thing is that you kind of look at empathy and you fully understand what your customers like, what they go through. And this is the first step of doing it, is by developing a persona. All right, good luck with that. Just put it in a Google Doc for me and label the Google Doc. Do not put it in a team. This is to be done individually. You're going to just label it as customer segmentation / persona and put that in your Google Drive in the Google Doc. And that way I can look at it on Monday. All right, have a nice weekend.